were in the hip pocket of commercial fishermen at the time. And you couldn't get more than a few minutes of their time, if anything. So we came in one day for our anti-gillnet committee meeting, and Doris Allen said to us, well, we're going to the initiative process. And I remember this, I remember walking into her offices in Cyprus, and she said, we're going to the initiative process. And I remember Bill Shedd saying at the time, Doris, it'll never work. We can't get enough signatures, it's not gonna fly. We just can't go that way, we can't waste the money. And she said to Bill, who I admire and respect greatly, by the way, she said, Ma, you're either with me or you against me, but I'm doing it. And so I think in many respects, Doris Allen is the unsung hero of the anti-gillnet movement in Southern California. Nobody really, I don't know, does anybody here remember her name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
She just doesn't get the credit, I believe, that she deserved in this. But she said, we're going to do it. And I remember we said, okay, well, we need a support group, a grassroots support group. And that's how United Anglers came to be. We went out and gathered signatures and supported the whole movement, at least from the sport fishing community side. I remember standing in front of Costco, I think it was, with my son gathering signatures. By the way, I'll tell you this. Doris said, that's great, go out and get all the signatures you want. But the way we need to get this on the ballot for, was it, I forget, I think it was a November ballot. She said, I just need $1 million. She said, give me $1 million and we can get this initiative on the ballot. So now you know, and I learned from that process, that's how initiatives get on ballots. It's not because citizens go out like us, go out and collect signatures. It's because a company puts down $1 million and says, put me on the ballot. And they give that $1 million to a firm that goes out there and collects the signatures for them. That's how this happens. So, anyway, United Anglers was formed. We did support it. We take great pride in that. That we were born in that fire of fighting for Proposition 132. Which passed, by the way. Among all the environmental initiatives, so-called environmental initiatives, it was the one that year that actually passed. So that's how we were formed. We were formed in a fight against something. And today we are again fighting against something. And the one question I think everybody needs to ask themselves is there anybody, anywhere, any group, anywhere, that is fighting for the rights of Southern California anglers? Anybody have any good ideas? Is there anybody?
What's the name of the group that was behind the recent LPEA?
RFA?
Yeah.
RFA, yeah. But they're a national organization.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. And you're right, they are one of those groups. But the only group in Southern California that's fighting for your rights is United Anglers of Southern California. There's nobody else. The gun owners have NRA fighting for them, but there's nobody fighting for our rights right here except United Anglers of Southern California. So that's why I say here, we are your advocate, fighting to save California fishing. By the way, John and I worked together on putting together this PowerPoint, so he gets much of the credit for what we're doing here. Our mission, which we discussed and recently revised, the mission of United Anglers is to enhance fishing and protect sport fishing participation. Okay. Now, I'm sure that Rick asked this question a little bit earlier. United Anglers hasn't really done much. Well, okay, maybe not lately. But let's look at what we've done in the past. Go ahead. We have helped with improving habitat with man-made reefs. I don't know how many of you remember the Artificial Reef Enhancement Program that we undertook many years ago. This was part of the United Anglers effort. We help rear and plant millions of juvenile white sea bass. How many have been to the Hub SeaWorld hatchery. You gotta go sometime. This place is incredible. And how we help is we provide the insurance for all of the grow-out pens up and down the Southern California coast. And believe it or not, they have to be insured. There's some liability connected with them. They have to be insured. And United Anglers pays for all that insurance. Okay, this is just some pictures I took of the Hub SeaWorld. We can go back there for a minute. If you haven't been there, this is just a sidebar. They have these grow-out tanks, so they have all this brood stock in there. They have 4 grow-out tanks. Each one is coded for spring, summer, fall, and winter. So at any given time, the brood stock in that tank is experiencing the same thing they would experience in terms of daylight, night, time of day, the amount of daylight, the water temperature that they would experience, whether it's spring, summer, fall, or winter. And so they release their eggs sequentially, and they just fall to the bottom of the tank where they're collected, fertilized eggs. And then they're moved into these grow-out, these little things where the fry grow up, and then they're tagged and everything. Anyway, I'm getting off track. But that's really exciting, and we're proud to support that. We've introduced thousands of kids to fishing. We have kids programs. We take them out on boats. We do parks. One of the missions is to help improve participation in fishing, and this helps achieve that goal. I talked a little bit about the removal of the coastal gill nets. Very proud of that. In fact, one of our poster children is an animal that we don't care for too much. Go ahead, next one. There we go. This is, I believe, more than anything else, despite our disdain for seals, sea lions, this was what helped pass that vision. Had broad appeal to everybody. This was the night of the election. I was there at the Balboa Boat Club that night. I know I don't look that old. We helped keep pelagic longlegs out of our waters. I'm not really actually familiar with how this took place, but it was a lot of lobbying effort on the part of our past president, Tom Raftican, working to try hard to keep longlegs out of, and trawling, by the way, out of Southern California ocean waters. Trawling, I talked about that a little bit earlier. Worked very hard. Okay. Now, this is where the fight has come to. Even though we are a conservation organization, we need to preserve our right to fish, access to the water, and that has become a very personal issue. Okay. Environmental groups have taken an anti-angling stance. Now, one thing that Rick said earlier is that the MLPA process, everybody feels like it's over, it's going downhill from here. Well, that's not true. Here's my take on what's happened so far with the MLPA. Bruce, I was talking to Bruce a little bit earlier about this. How many of you are aware that the MLPA implementation process was privately funded, I should say?
Yeah.
Okay. Problem is if a public process is privately funded, the people paying the bills want to see results, and they want to see the results that they paid for. That's the problem. It's fundamentally inappropriate, and that's what's happened. Now, you might ask yourself, why have they taken an anti-angling stance? What are anglers? Are we that detrimental to their environmental stance? Well, the answer is not. No, obviously we're not. We take a fraction of the fish that the commercial guys take. But the problem is, I believe, and this is my opinion, that the environmental groups, the conservation stance that they have taken is just a guise for animal protectionism. And that's what I believe. I don't know how many of you agree with me, but there's no other way, thank you, there's no other way to explain their anti-angling stance. I mean, Bruce is saying, what's a lone surf fisherman standing on, you know, Leo Carrillo Beach, how much damage is he going to do to the environment? How about a kayak fisherman? How much damage is he going to do? Yeah, Laguna Beach. They don't like us. Okay, and they're bent on shutting us down. Okay. Okay, new attacks. John asked me to add this, so I'm not quite sure what he's talking about. But there have been environmental impact reports on hatcheries where they've tried to shut down fish hatcheries. Okay, we actually dodged a bullet on that. There's a Department of Natural Resources, the California State Department, where they've made the MLPA an adaptive process. They want to say, okay, this is just the start, but we're going to review it from time to time. We're going to see whether we need to expand the areas or not. So it's not set in stone from their point of view, although it's probably set in stone from our point of view. It's only going to get worse if we don't fight it. As I said before, UASC is the only fishing group standing between angling forces and your anti-angling forces and your right to fish. We're the only group. So the question is, how can you help? Okay. Our legacy is to fight for fishing. We've always fought for your right to fish. And these are some examples of ways in which we fought for your right to fish. We're your advocate. Okay. Nobody here in this room, I venture to say, is happy with the way the MLPA process has turned out, but it could have been a lot worse. If UASC wasn't in there advocating for angler rights, it could have been a whole lot worse. So, you know, that's kind of looking at it in a strange point of view, but it could have been horrible for us. It's not good, but it could have been worse. And the fight's not over. We need to continue to fight, but in order to be able to continue to fight the MLPA process, by the way, the appeal process is still ongoing. It's not, we have not dropped the appeal, it's still in process. We probably won't see anything until February or March of next year.
What's your prognosis on that?
I don't think it's not good. Appeal processes never are. I've talked to attorneys about it. It probably won't help. But if we just lay down and do nothing, I think we're just rolling over and saying that, okay, we accept what you've done. So we will continue. It's expensive is the problem.
What's the grounds that you're on? What grounds are you contesting?
Boy, you're asking me tough questions here. They're mostly procedural grounds, and I'm not an attorney, so I can't exactly tell you all of the legal intricacies. To be honest with you, I didn't understand what the lawyers were fighting, how they were staging their legal arguments initially, but it was mostly procedural. It was challenging the environmental impact reports that were taking place, that sort of thing.
Weren't some of the meetings held in secret or something like that?
We were successful. We had a number of favorable decisions leading up to the ultimate decision that did not favor us. But they had claimed they kind of the Blue Ribbon Task Force. They kind of wanted to have it both ways. They wanted to say we're doing a public process, but you can't see what we're doing. And so what our attorneys went in and said is you need to turn over all of the notes from all of the meetings. And they said, no, we're not a public agency. We're not obliged to give you all of our notes. So we challenged that court, and the court ruled in our favor. And then we started to build a case from there. Ultimately, it failed, but that's how that took place.
Can we take a stand, and just being an idiot here, but that, like you said from the beginning, there's a private organizations are the ones that are doing this, and we're talking about public land. We're talking about the ocean, which is for the public.
We're talking about public processes in general. I mean,
yeah, I just don't see how
the court has previously ruled that is not illegal. That is an allowable process. So
this appeal process, what's it costing?
Well, let me see. I don't know how much it will eventually be, but I can tell you what the legal bill has been up to this point. We run up about $1 million. So we've paid off about $600,000 so far. Now, the one thing that I also want you to understand is, when there are a number of organizations involved in the legal fight against the MLPA. There's the PSO, which is the Partnership for Sustainable Oceans. Within the PSO is the American Sport Fishing Association, the National Marine Manufacturers Association, the Coastside Fishing Club up in Northern California. There's a number of them, kayak fishermen. There's a whole bunch, including us. But when they asked, when the ASA came to us and said we need to engage in this legal battle, and we want a local organization to lead the charge, to be the point of spear in this fight, they came to United Anglers of Southern California and said, you're the group, you have to do this. So they gave us a retainer and said, you need to sign the retainer for the legal firm. So understand that while we have received some contributions from members of the PSO, the organization that is responsible, ultimately responsible for the legal bills is United Anglers of Southern California. Our name, I'm on the board, my name is on the retainer for the legal firm. So John Gable's on the board, Dave Helms on the board, we have a lot of board members, but we are, we're the ones that signed that, and United Anglers of Southern California is responsible 100% for that legal bill. And it'll be over $1 million by the time we're done. So, and we're an all-volunteer organization, by the way. Nobody gets paid to do any of this work except the attorneys. So, anyway, we are fighting to save California fishing, and we need your help. Okay. How can you help? All right, join United Anglers of Southern California. John told me before I came here, at one point we had 100% membership in United Anglers, but that has fallen off precipitously. I would beg you, I ask you, please join United Anglers of Southern California if you're not a member. Go to the website, unitedanglers.com, and sign up and join. Please, we need your help. It's $40, maybe it's $50 a year, I'm not sure. I pay $100 a year and just say that's part of it. And of course, I'm on the board. I need.
Do you have applications with you today?
I do not, but unitedanglers.com is where you go to sign up. Donate to SaveCaliforniaFishing.org. This is a website that was started by the fellows at BD Outdoors, Bloody Decks. They started this. If you don't, you can do a thing where you submit a credit card and say, I want to donate $5 a month, whatever it is. We're asking for like $5 a month. That's all we're asking. That money goes it goes to United Anglers, but it goes directly into a fund, a dedicated fund that is used to help pay for the legal fight against the MLPA process. Attend fundraising events. I don't have any flyers for this, but if you have a calendar, you have your cell phone calendar, please mark Sunday, November 4th. I think that's a Sunday.
Yeah.
3 p.m. We're having our fourth annual crab feed at the Sportsman's Club in Paramount. I think it's called the Compton Sportsman's Club. It's really, despite the fact that it's called Compton Sportsman's Club, it's a really beautiful facility. So come on out. I think it's $40 if you want to have crabs, $20 if you just want to have fish tacos. Please attend. I just beg you to be there and support United Anglers as much as you can. Does somebody have a question? Yes.
I just have a couple of questions. One, is it as simple as the Constitution of this state says we have the right to fish public waters? I mean, I'm being really naive here. I mean, it's like, to me, that's like the most basic, most essential thing here. And all the MLPA closures that came, all are violating that. I mean, it's like.
I agree. There's somebody I talked to from the club says, I just carry the state constitution with me. And if I'm fishing in an MPA and they stop me, I just show them a copy of the Constitution. I said, here it is. Now, I'm not an attorney, so I can't advise you to do that. I don't do it, I obey the law, now it's the law. And I won't fish, I'll fish right up to the edge,
Yeah.
but I won't fish in it. But if you feel you want to challenge the law, that would probably be the best way to do it. And there are people I know who said that's what I do. I just carry a copy of the state constitution with me.
And they're willing to bite the bullet should they have to go to court?
That's the
and see
risk
what
you take.
happens.
That's, you know, I would like to see that challenge. I'd like to actually see somebody courageous enough to fish beside it and use that as their legal argument. I really would.
Well, how about United Anglers sponsoring somebody to do that?
Yeah, we got to pay off $600,000 in legal bills right now. I don't think we can take on another legal challenge. So, but yeah, I would love to see that. I would love to see that happen. And to be honest with you, your contributions are greatly appreciated. But we really, in order to really put some teeth behind the United Anglers advocacy role, we need huge sponsors. So we need somebody to step up with deep pockets. We need a major or company corporation. So if you know of anybody that is interested in fishing and want to give away their money, we certainly like to talk to them. Okay, and volunteer, of course, just like everybody here, a volunteer. I don't know how many of you volunteered at United Anglers events. That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate it. We are a volunteer-driven organization. Without volunteers, we could not exist. Okay. So there we go. United Anglers, we are your advocate. We are fighting to save California fishing. So, okay. Now this is one.